What do you think happens if the meta doesn't get nerfed? If the meta doesn't get nerfed... What's up, Teapot? If the meta were to not be nerfed, I think what would happen is the people that had to... The people that feel like they had to really go out of their way to get the meta done, like maybe they weren't a member of Hardstuck and they joined Hardstuck just to get the meta done. Like, the people like that, like, once they get one, they're going to be one and done. And they're not going to do the meta again. And then after some time passes, the only people doing the meta will be communities like your own. And then far in the future, you know, maybe a couple months, newer people will not be able to get turtles. Unless they get the help from a community like yours, but like there will not be enough people going to do it, and they would have to make a new way to get the turtle mount because it would be unachievable for most people. Like right now, you know, with good coordination, a group of 50 people could do it. I think in the future there's going to be people that have already done it will be like, no, I ain't going back and doing that. It was too much work and not enough reward. I just wanted my turtle, I'm done. And then newer people just won't be good enough to do it. So, that would be my prediction. If it doesn't get nerfed, they'll make an alternative way to get the turtle, and then they could leave it like how it is. Communities still do Triple Trouble, and because it requires so much coordination. That is true, but there wasn't an expansion-defining feature locked behind Triple Trouble. They weren't like, hey, you want gliding? Go complete Triple Trouble. Like, they didn't do that with that one. That's part of that's the reason. So... At this point, one of the big issues is we've kind of got a divide. Like, whether you are team don't nerf it or team nerf it, people are, like, against each other right now. That shouldn't be the case. Like, it should be us versus the problem, not, you know, the tryhards versus the casuals. Like, that shouldn't be the case. But this whole situation has created a divide in which, you know, people are upset. So, because that is the case, I don't feel like the answer should be as simple as get good. Like, do I think I'm good enough to get the turtle mount? Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm pulling my weight and then some. But, you know, I am joining pugs, and it just hasn't worked out for me. But I do not think the answer is just get good, because that doesn't solve the issue that a lot of people are pissed off. And some of them are unhappy with their purchase of End of Dragons as a result of this. We don't want people that bought the game to be mad they bought the game. I'm a very casual player. I'd agree I would bail on this in the future if it wasn't able to be completed by at least 50% of the time, as it isn't a big deal to me. Wait, what? With Triple Trouble, if you're in like 20 minutes early, there's a specific guild that runs it. They train new commanders and whatnot, but there's a core group of people running it and continue to train leaders. Also, it's really not hard to coordinate, given there's only like one mechanic you have to worry about per head. They're asking 50 plus people per map to get sweaty, which is a lot to ask of the community. You don't really have to get sweaty, though. Proper subgroups and pre-event completion will get you most of the way there. The amount of DPS and, like, support and setting up subgroups and stuff, like, from what I've experienced so far in my 11 hours and 45 minutes of attempts on Dragon's End, this is the exact same level of effort that I would put into setting up a challenge mode raid. When I did CM raids, I recently went through. I mean, here, look at my bag. You see the boxes? I recently went through and did all the CM raids so that I could make a guide, and I put in basically the same amount of effort per people, but I have to do it more for that meta because I have to look at 49 people and make sure they're competent. But as far as like squads, subgroups, commanding, boons, builds, DPS, HPS, uptime, like. It feels like I'm trying to take those 49 people to, like, not challenge mode Kadim, but, you know, one of the middling CMs. It feels like that. But the thing is I don't want to raid with 49 people. So, then what do we have? We've got non-consensual raiding. That's what we got. Now, I'm not one of the people screaming for it to be nerfed. I'm not one of those. I'm depressed. I wish I didn't feel this way. This is my first expansion to hit since I became a full-time content creator for this game, and yet I've had moments in the last couple of days where I've had the least amount of fun playing this game in the past 2 years. I don't want to feel this way. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm not raging. I'm not posting on the forums. I'm not like, you know, just getting super salty or anything like that. I'm bummed out. I am bummed out about it. I've also not completed a successful Seitung yet because it keeps bugging. That's not because of the players, it's just because it keeps bugging. And I think we just failed this one just because of time, but I was here late, so... thank you for trying to get me into it, Beansy, but it looks like the map failed this meta, but that was because the players, not because of a glitch. At the end of the day, this is a game saying they should never complete Oblivion, but it should be more or less doable with a target group if there's open world judge. I've heard some interesting ideas about what they could do from other people. I'm not saying I support these are just ideas I've heard. Like, one, of course, is make an instanced version of it that is just like it is now with really good rewards, similar to Twisted Marionette, and then make the open world one easier so that people could get their turtle and such. Another idea was just make an alternative way to get the turtle. However, chronologically, they want you to do the meta before you do the story finale for it to make sense. Like, I remember when I did the story finale and Logan showed up, I was like, how the hell did you get here? And then the meta actually explains how Logan got there. I was like, oh shoot, you were supposed to do this first. And then someone showed me there's an achievement that says do it first. And I was like, okay. So they want people to do that. Another idea would be, you know how strike missions have like normal, like bronze, silver, gold timers? Another hypothetical would be if the Dragon's Den meta, the current version of it was doing it on the gold time. And then you had another couple of minutes for the silver time, and then an additional couple of minutes for just get it done. You know, that would be another possible solution. And then, you know, some of the treasure disappears for each time where you fail. So that would be an option, but again, that's someone else's idea. I just stole it. I'm regurgitating it to you. I did 2 metas today in Dragon's End. One failed, one won. When we failed, the commander was hardcore and not helpful, saying things like tail, 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 not showing anything. The other commander said everything beforehand and told people to follow, when to CC, etc. I mean, that's good. That's good. I mean, good leadership, of course, goes a very long way. I think that's true for any training group. If you, like, explaining things well is a very, very strong skill. If you look at all events across all maps, small and large, they all borrow from existing raids, fractals, and strike mechanics. New strikes are needed for LEGO materials and MCs, the best source of them at the moment. ANET wants to introduce their play rate starter content. If you conquer the meta and get your turtle, eventually everyone will end with that. It means they learn the mechanics, therefore meta will be done in the future. Maybe not as popular as Career, since any other meta is just auto-attack AFK. The thing is, once everyone has done every meta for the things that they want, they just do the metas that are profitable. That's why Dragonfall and Drizzlewood are so popular. So if this meta ends up with a 2-hour thing, it needs to have payout equal to 2 hours of your time. Otherwise, people won't do it after they've done it once. Unless they just really love the gameplay, like the Triple Trouble crew, for example. But the average people will go back to farming the ones that are the most profitable for their time spent. Do you think the problem will get better with time as more and more people learn the meta? I think if things are left exactly as they are right now, there will be a lot of people that will get it done once and never go back. And then people in the future will struggle to get groups to get the turtle. And then eventually they'll have to make a new way to get the turtle. That's what I predict if nothing changes. I'm a Dragon's End enjoyer. Teapot, we all know you're a Dragon's End enjoyer. And I mean that's good. I think that's good. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before, and I'm going in a circle at this point, there's a lot of people in the community that are happy with it, and they're just saying different forms of get good. And there's a lot of people in the community that are pissed. Whether you're on this side or that side, you have to recognize this is driving a wedge between people. This is not making the player base versus the game. This is making some of the players pissed at some other players. That's a problem. That is something that I really think should be addressed. No matter what side you're on, you got to recognize there's another group of people that are very much not enjoying this wonderful game. That should be handled in some way. Sounds like WoW? Yeah, and you know what? We don't want to be like WoW. we don't want to be like WoW. We don't want to be like WoW. The turtleless people? I mean, time on Tim, so I failed the meta for the 7th time just a little while ago. If I had gotten my turtle there, I would have been like, great, I'm never coming back. I'm in club never going back. I would not be back. It's frustrating, and there's a very strong chance that I will burn 2 hours of my time for nothing. It's not worth it to me. If there's legendary mats that can be gotten from that meta and I want them, I'll go farm gold somewhere where I cannot fail, and then buy the mats from some sap who did the meta, who had a 50% chance of failing. Because even if I do everything right, there's 49 other chances something will go wrong. And I have very limited control over them. That's how it is right now. I think it's super interesting convo about the way the game has been for ages. The game has been so easy for so long that every small effort gets people like frustrated. I don't think it's small effort, Teapot. I mean, so let's say you're taking, you know, your fresh level 80, new to max level, terrible trait specializations. He's got berserker gear and a Condi build. He's doing 2k DPS. You're teaching them to get on voice, learn break bars, learn combos, learn boons, get in the right subgroup, listen to your squad leader on voice, fix your traits, fix your specialization, fix your build, and do 10 times the damage you currently are. Now, all of those are things that need to be addressed. You and I both have tons of videos on those topics, but we're taking a lot of people that have played this game for years like that, and we're telling them to get better in 17 different ways. Right now, it's like it's cold turkey. It's too much all at once. So you know, could they have made metas that force us to improve bit by bit? Yeah, but they made a meta where you have to play like it's a CM raid, and said, "Good luck if you want the thing that we put on the box for the game. If you want that new mount that we advertise, you need to play like your life depends on it. And also, if any of those people with you fail, you don't get it." That's kind of how it is right now. So, you want internet to constantly pump out easy content because of new players? No, and you should be ashamed of yourself for trying to do that tactic where you shove words in my mouth. That is not what I said at all. I said they could have introduced new things that were required to... Okay, how about this? Imagine a world of boss where you have to interrupt the break bar in order to kill it. And it required like at least 30 to 40 people out of 50 to use an interrupt at the same time to interrupt it. And there was no getting around it. That would force people to learn the break bar. The next world boss, it would have that, and also, on average, everyone had to do 5 to 10k DPS, and you keep stepping it up, you keep stepping it up. They went straight from level 1 to level 10, in my opinion. There's different ways they could have done that. But, I mean, it was supposed to be their big finale, you know? After 10 years of build-up, and we're going to pretend that Primordius vs. Dormag was not the finale. This is the finale, we want to go hard. And they went hard. They may have gone too hard. So the issue is, again, as someone who's done CM raids, I'm having to put the same level of work into this than I am a CM raid, which I don't mind, but I can't trust that everyone else there is doing the same thing. How many times does the event happen a day? It happens every 2 hours, but you have to get there early to get in a group, and then it pretty much takes about 2 hours. So having a fail means that you spent about 2 hours there, and it's, you know how there are some events that give you like some treasure if you fail? This doesn't give you any. So if you fail, you got a little bit of XP and stuff from the pre-events, but that's it. Claiming game data does not introduce all the mechanics is a bit silly. They did. If you wanted to clear dungeons, you had to step over a hurdle. If you want to go into raids, you have to go into voice chat. I mean, no, you don't have to go into voice chat. And the thing with dungeons is, like, so many people have found shortcuts. Again, I'm going to repeat something I said. The thing with introducing the mechanics in open world is make them unskippable. If someone figures out a way to skip it, take that way out. Like when Teapot found a way to attack Gorseval and Sabbatha without them being able to fight back. They fixed that. They were like, no. Bad Teapot. No. And they hit him with a rolled up newspaper, and they said delete that video, and they fixed that issue. So, I mean, if they just make certain things unskippable, you know, and then if someone figures out to skip, they fix it, and then just keep going. You know, they could slowly force the community to learn this stuff. But for a lot of people, this was just a lot all at once. But yeah, the fact that it's 2 hours and then you can fail and get nothing, even if you yourself did everything right, is pretty harsh. Yeah, it did take 2 hours every single time to try it again. More people will be willing to do it. That is also true, Albie. Like, for example, when I play Elden Ring, I might die to a boss 30, 40 times because I'm terrible. It takes me a long time to learn. However, it's like I die, respawn, walk back in. Fight, die. Okay, learn something new, respawn, walk back in. It's a very different feeling wiping to something over and over and over and over when getting back to the boss takes 2 seconds rather than 2 hours. The difference between raids and Dragon's End is that in raids people get instance checkpoints. You're correct. My comparison between raids and Dragon's End was saying the amount of work that one had to do. You need to make sure you got a right build, you're in a good squad, you're in a good party with, subgroup within the squad. You've got the right boons on your party, quickness, 25 stacks of might, fury, alacrity, stuff like that. You need to make sure, ideally, that you got healers for people as necessary. You're using mesmer portals to go between the tail and the head to save time. You've got builds that cleave, epidemic every time there's too many ads nearby. You've brought CC to handle those break bars. You know what? Let's go a step above raids. We're going to put down a table that we brought from Drizzlewood to abuse the EMP so that we can take out the break bars faster, because the CC that people already brought wasn't good enough. We had to bring some from freaking Drizzlewood, so we're gonna bring that too. I mean, honestly, in some ways, that we're putting in more work than a CM raid in that meta, and it's not enough, because I mean that's the reason why in World of Warcraft those 40-man raids were so tough. It wasn't because of the mechanics. It wasn't because move this guy and this guy far apart and then kill them one at a time was anything complicated. It was because you had 40 people there. 40 people made it complicated. What did that guy in the Men in Black say? He said, a person is smart. People are dumb, vicious animals and you know it. A person is smart. People, that's different. Isn't this kind of a problem with Guild Wars 2 as a whole, though? The game is kind of complicated. Lol, what you were describing here is essentially the very bare minimum of endgame PvE mechanics. I mean, what I just described is all endgame PvE mechanics. Like, you and I, like, you and I both know this stuff. I consider your mechanical knowledge of the different classes higher than mine, but we both know boons and subgroups and stuff like that. You've got a community of people that are mostly up at that level, so you're able to pull upon that. But the average player doesn't even have to learn that stuff to enjoy the game. I remember one person under one of the, it was either Reddit thread or YouTube video about this topic. He's like, I don't even have 2 hours in my playtime when I play this game. I can literally never try this meta. Like, when he has time to play after working his 9 to 5 and putting his kid to bed, he has about an hour on the days that he has time to play. He doesn't even have 2 hours. So he said, I can never do this meta. Like, you gotta keep in mind, the average player and us is very different. Like, I play 5 hours a day, you play 25, which is breaking the laws of time and space, but the average player is way less than that. Way less than that. The average player doesn't need a turtle to enjoy the game. Oh, Saraxa, that's a terrible view to have. That's a terrible... Imagine buying a game that had the Siege Turtle on the box, and even if you didn't really need it, someone goes, you don't need this to have fun. You go to the kids' table. There's a sandbox too, you'll love it. Ooh, dude, you're trying to start a fight using that kind of statement as an argument. That's just gonna piss people off. If they don't want to go through it, they need to invest some time to finding and build a group of organized people. It takes 4 hours max. Yeah, that's still a terrible statement even after reading the whole thing. That's still, again, you gotta keep in mind, part of the issue is people bought the game and they can't get access to something that was on the box. And it's not unfair of them for them to assume that. In Heart of Thorns, you got gliding immediately. In Path of Fire, you got a mount within 30 minutes. In this, you got to get to the final zone and beat a meta that I still haven't been able to beat after a week to get the thing that was on the box. Like, it's not unfair of them to assume that they would have to not do... Like, there's no other mastery in the game that required you to be subjected to the whim of 49 other people. There's none. There's not one in here. The closest thing would be Raise, which requires you to be with 9 other people. Nothing else in here requires more than that, but getting the turtle requires you to have 49 other smart people. They advertise legendaries too, so why aren't you asking? Literally, why aren't you asking for them to be free? One, I never said the turtle should be free. Stop trying to put words in my mouth. This is just like that freaking interview with that annoying lady in Jordan Peterson, where she's like, so what you're saying is, we should just kill all that. And he's like, no. And like every statement he said, she goes, what you're saying is, and then she said something that was totally not at all what he said. That's you. You're her right now. Isn't it turtle yet? Nah. Hold on, I'm missing so much out. Let me scroll up a bit. I think it's a pretty interesting idea to have some macro maps that require skill. It's unique or two can deliver on other MMOs kind of can't. Yeah. I mean, Guild Wars 2 among MMOs is one of the strongest open worlds just because of how they set it up. It's wonderful. You have mail to open every day of the week. I feel like we're just trying to put the whole Guild Wars 2 in the kids' playground, defend them at all costs, or any other MMO that requires you to learn a rotation. I mean, again, are you saying we should ban everyone without a turtle? Yes, I'm saying you should ban me. I shouldn't be allowed here. Only boomer turtle lovers are allowed in here. Like or not, majority of people aren't pro gamers. Arena needs to make money, so many have to cater to the majority, which is casuals. It's just business. Yeah, absolutely. That's why almost every MMO based on, like, you know, just high levels of PvP only and nothing else fails. Like, that's been a thing for a good long while. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Whether you're on Team Nerf It or Team Don't Touch It, please recognize that there's another group of people other than the one you are that's really pissed off, and they're starting to hate the game. I myself, who had so much passion for this game that while I wasn't being paid for it, made 100 guides and 1,000 YouTube videos out of sheer enjoyment. And in the last week, I've had moments where I've had the least amount of fun as I've had in the last 2 years. And it was right after a new expansion launched. I don't want to feel this way. It's depressing. Like, it's freaking depressing. I mean, it doesn't matter which side you're on. Just recognize that there's another group of people seriously pissed off at the game, and it is not good for the game to have players versus other players in an argument. You should have all the players versus a problem. That should be how it goes. MightyTeapot said in his stream today, there is only one way to play the game right. He is not now or ever will listen to you. I mean, well, okay, I don't know if he said that, and if he did, I don't know if that is in context. The thing is you can have people that have played this game as just open world enjoyers for years that never learned how to do more than 2k DPS. And you know what? If it wasn't for those people, occasionally, you know, spending money to support ArenaNet, we wouldn't have a game. Because they make up the majority. I mean, they literally all content doesn't have to, we don't need to make Doom accessible to them or Kadim, but the open world stuff and the freaking mounts advertised as selling points on the box, like that stuff should be. I mean, that's how I feel. This is a hard reality. The game has rules and mechanics. If you don't respect them, the game punishes you. That is true in any game. Teapot, if you say any game, other games have difficulties. Like, you got to keep in mind, there's games that have, you know, story where the difficulty is super low, and then easy, medium, nightmare, and then please hurt me, daddy is the last difficulty. You know, like there's, you know, this is an MMO. It doesn't have difficulties, so instead of that, it has different things that different people access. You've got your open world enjoyers, you've got your fractalers, you've got your, you know, guild MMs that never leave the trading post because he plays the game like it's an Excel spreadsheet. You've got your raiders, you know, you've got your strike mission people that are getting better, and you got people just trying to get a freaking turtle. Someone clip the daddy part. For those of you who never played Doom, that was a freaking difficulty setting. I'm pretty sure it was it Doom or Wolfenstein that had a difficulty called Hurt Me Daddy? I'm quoting. That was a difficulty. Average players can clear this meta with a bit of effort. Even if that is true, first of all, you say a bit of effort. I think it's more than a bit, which is fine. Second of all, you say sentences like that, you're gonna start a fight. Like, I don't know if you've ever worked in customer service, but that kind of thing is something that just, if someone's already angry and you say that, you make it worse. That is not how to diffuse an angry person. You don't say, if you'd put in a little bit of effort, we wouldn't have a problem. Oh, great. Okay, now they're calling the manager. I'm not a liar, and I won't lie to make people feel better. Okay, well, that's fine. If you make people feel worse about the game, they quit the game. It doesn't help the game. And I know you're pro Guild Wars, too. Like, I'm not telling you to hold their hand and, you know, give them, you know, kisses with sugar on top or anything like that. I'm just saying, you know, if you say stuff in, like, an aggressive manner like that, you know, people are going to be pissed. And then that just drives the wedge to, you know, the divide between the two groups of people even further. Do ArenaNet tweak the meta yet? They did a few days ago, yeah. I personally have still not been able to get it done with any pugs. I went really try hard on one of them where I tried to, sorry, focused on the fight. I went really try hard on one of them and we failed it by just like 2 minutes at the very end. And that was after like 2 hours of, you know, yelling at people on comms, and we got everyone on, you know, 50 people on voice, and we did subgroups and we did boons and all that stuff, and we were just short. It was not enough. But, I mean, the DPS of most of the people there was horrible. But they were trying. You know, they did everything I asked of them, but just the builds that they had was not good enough. Hard stuck, 90% win rate, easy clap. Is it down to 90%? I thought it was 100. Did y'all fail some? I'm starting to lose your respect for Teapot now. I'm a casual gamer. I feel like he just doesn't care about us, so I'd have to change the way I play through yours. I mean, I think a casual player has accepted the fact that, like, they're like, you know what? I would have to do a lot of work to get my DPS up to be able to do raids. I'm okay with not doing raids. Like, I think your average player that doesn't do raids accepts that and just says, that's not for me. But then for us to take that really hard content and put it into the open world and then lock a expansion defining feature behind it, I think that's why a lot of people are upset. There are so many people who legit do 2K, like, you gotta be trolling to do that. Honestly, I think if you just hit max level and you've only just like read in-game tooltips and you're just using whatever gear was handed to you as you leveled up and you've never read a guide, most of those people are doing 2K. Just got the meta done today on EU like half an hour ago. Started at 2 AM. We had an awesome commander who did subgroups, gave clear instructions about food. We had 3 to 4 minutes until failure. I can start turtle now. That's awesome, Bozer. Congratulations. Why don't you join a Hardstuck Dragons End run to get your turtle? I'm not just doing it just to, like, okay, real talk, the turtle sucks. It's cool looking, and I have some funny video ideas I would like to do with the turtle, but in gameplay wise, it's awful. So I don't really care. So I'm patient about getting the turtle. I want it for like making memes and things like that. Have it drift around and go play Deja Vu, things like that. So I'm very patient about getting it because it's not like getting the sky scale. It's not going to help me out. It's slower than a roller beetle. It jumps less high than a rabbit. It's slower in water than a skimmer, and it makes 2 people become hostage to do less than the damage of half a person. It's a toy. It's a fun toy. That's fine. It's fine, but I'm not in a rush to get it. And also, I feel like if I have to join one, now I have nothing but respect for Hardstack. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but if I have to join one of the top most well-coordinated communities in the entire game in order to get an open world event done, something's wrong with the fucking event. That's what I think. If I have to join one of the top communities in the game to get it done, there's something else wrong. Now, again, I'm at the point where I'm past anger. I'm in acceptance, and I try the meta. I assume it's gonna fail, and I do my best. And if it wins, great. That's fine. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But. So I'm just going to keep doing it periodically, and I'll just see when we get it done, see what happens. I'm kind of curious how high my timer is going to go before it gets done. So right now I'm at 11 hours and 45 minutes spent in Dragon's Stand on failing metas, and I have, the story took 12 hours. I did this with 15 HS players, and the rest only pugs beat it with 3 minutes left. I'm no big streamer as possible. That's good. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. I just have not been able to find a group like that. The meta's not even close to CM level of execution. Most people are still doing pretty low DPS mechanics, mostly prep and strat doing the work. Dude, doing a CM... I gotta disagree with you there. Doing a CM raid is mostly prep and strat. Dude, CM raids are not even that freaking difficult. Like, oh, look out, Doom has a freaking mini-me running around the room going whoop, 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 whoop. You better step to the left. The freaking CM raids are not even that tough. It's just doing it while 9 other billies are with you. That's it. They're not that hard. Like, each individual person in a CM, raid is doing like 1 or 2, like reacting to 1 or 2 mechanics at a time. Like, to say that it's just planning and prep, I mean, that's the same for raid. You do planning and prep for raids. It's the same thing. Voice isn't needed. I mean, in any video game, being on voice chat with your teammates makes communication faster. That's just a fact. Is it always needed? No. If everyone knows the fight and they react accordingly, you don't need any voice at all. You don't even need people to type commands. But it helps with people that aren't, like, you know, fluent with timers in their head. You don't have to join hard stuff to clear it. The expansion is out for barely 7 days. Majority of the players have reached the last zone probably this Friday, Saturday. I truly believe it's really too early to have such strong takes for both and against the nerf. Maybe you're right, CGQ. You know, it is entirely, I grant you it. It's entirely possible that you're correct. However, I think the fact that remains that today, in this moment, there's a lot of angry people on the forums. There's a lot of angry people in the group finder. It's becoming almost tribal. There's the try-hard tribe. You know, you guys need to get good. You guys suck. If you didn't suck, you'd have a freaking turtle. A turtle shows that you don't suck. Get on our level. And then there's the other people saying, this isn't fair. And both of them have points, but both of them are being kind of jerks about it. So, I mean, the problem is it's driving a wedge in the community. And you're getting, you know, some Guild Wars 2 players that hate other Guild Wars 2 players. And I feel like that's an issue. Like, I could sit down with any one of them if they had enough free time and teach them how to up their DPS, handle break bars, do combo field. Combo fields aren't really required for the meta, but I could do that too. You know, do subgroups, do boons. I could teach that to any one of them if they had the time. But some of them don't want to put in that time. And then I could fail the meta because they didn't want to put in that time or they didn't have that time. But even I, who don't think the meta is difficult, if I get it done, I'm never going back. Because it's a 2-hour investment with a high chance of failure with random people. Why would I go back to something where I could waste 2 hours on? And even if I succeed, it's just like, okay, I got some money. Like, if it stays the exact way it is right now, if I get it done once, I wouldn't be back. The rewards, really the cost of how well it pays is going to depend on how well those items from the meta used in the Gen 3 crafting, like how much they're going to be worth. Let's see, organized, meta prep, fishing, mining, boycotting, free our turtle from this stupid meta now we paid. People boycotting are just dumb. Okay, so right here, here's the 2 tribes. Chat, here's the 2 tribes right here. Free our turtle, you're dumb. There you go. Pick your tribe. Sign up. Get in there and fail with either one of them. So, I mean, there they are. Case in point. Another thing. There was a guy under a YouTube video. I can't remember whose YouTube video it was. There was a guy I saw in a YouTube comment section who said, I love this meta. All I have to do is AFK on the map and people will pay me gold to leave. I've made the most money this week I've ever made. He's literally holding slots hostage on maps for gold. This is the kind of crap that this current system is promoting. Okay? The guy I just mentioned and these idiots. And I'm calling both of them idiots. Because they're complaining in a group finder because what are they boycotting? It's all dumb. And it's bad for the game. As a whole, this situation is bad for the game. It's very healthy against future. Yeah, the new meta takes 2 hours, roughly. It can be shorter than that with good damage, but it's roughly that. Already bought the game and is boycotting. Yeah, I don't think they really understand the term boycotting, but it's kind of funny. Yeah, today was the first day I completed any meta in this expansion successfully. After 11 hours and 45 minutes of failing Dragon's End and 2 Seitung provinces that bugged out, 3 now. I did this one, and it was the first meta I successfully finished in this expansion. I do think they will nerf it, so I'm just waiting for it to happen. I won't play the meta if it isn't challenging anymore. I'm okay with it being nerfed, but I think it would be a shame. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best solutions would be either have it do like the bronze, silver, gold, like in strikes, where like the current version of the meta would basically be gold with really good rewards. And then, but you could still do the meta and fail the timer and complete it on bronze and get your turtle if your group is not up to par. I think that would be okay. Or if they had an instanced super tryhard version like the Twisted Marionette. Not that that is super tryhard, but the you just have a version in instance and a version in open world that are different. I think that would be okay. But I think any of those ideas, which again, those were great ideas given to me by other people, would make it to where this tribe thing stops happening. I was thinking if you finish in gold, you get full item for turtle. If you do silver or bronze, you get like 1/10 of a turtle. I don't think the turtle shouldn't have even been there. The turtle should not have even been like part of that. IMO. It should have just been just good rewards without that. You know, an ascended item, maybe, or just like more. Oh, how about more shards of the legendary thing, right? Like the better your time, the more of the pieces of the legendary, the Gen 3 you get. Like there's a lot of options. What do you think of making the meta into a 50-man similar to Marionette, then nerfing the open world version? That would be one way to handle the current situation, yeah. Again, I want to point out, I mean, I'm not, like Teapot's group, I'm not doing it every day. I'm someone, just to make clear on my stance on this, I'm someone that is just trying each day to get it done. I've gotten really depressed by the whole thing, and I'm just waiting to get it done, and once I get it done, I will probably never go back if it stays as it is. And then I foresee that if it stays that way, no one will do it in the future, and then they'll have to make a new way to get the turtle, and this will not be a event that people do on the regular. I don't know if it's going to be like Serpent's Ire, where it's only done on leap year, but I think it's going to be not done often. Which is a shame, because mechanically and visually and audibly, it's a stunning event. Like, if you take out all the difficulty we're having, it is a cool event, right? Like, if it wasn't for the difficulty people are facing, it's really enjoyable. Mog, I don't think the rewards are that good after first kill. Why would you do it after? Genuine question. Roraro, my understanding is that the Dragon's Den meta, at the end, it drops ingredients that are used for crafting Generation 3 legendaries. So, if not just for the sheer joy of the game, that would be a reason why people would go back. You can keep them or you can sell them. I do because I actually enjoy it. All the other metas. Yeah, the first time I tried the Dragon's Den meta, I was like, this is really freaking cool. And then 6 attempts later, I was like, I'm sick of these people. Like, it was making me angry at other people there. The problem with turtle outlaw people are that freeze timer on green phase on Dragon's Den meta could be helpful. Yeah, it could. A lot of people have suggested that because is it Tequatl with the batteries, the timer freezes? And a lot of people have been saying, hey, do that with the greens as well, because we have to wait on other people for that. Content mix from the gamers in the genre talking about try the game, always good if you have things that are considered to be the best in the genre. Girls here and elsewhere lacking the hardcore aspect. Yes, but the hardcore players, like the people that, are farming CM raids with one hand on a timer, are an incredibly small minority. Very, very small minority. Like, yeah, they're there, and you should try to keep them happy too. I am not at all saying you shouldn't try to keep all your customers happy, but they're not the only ones. You shouldn't hold an entire zone and class expansion defining feature hostage from these other people because you want to keep it for them. But again, I don't think that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to make an epic event. They did make an epic event. Unfortunately, it's just resulted in a lot of frustration. Go in an organized map to complete it once and wait some time for the normal people to start to understand before going back. I mean, Rusky, if I go into an organized map to complete it and I get it done, I'm never going back. There's no reason to. It's too much, it's too risky. Because there's a risk that I lose 2 hours of my life and I gain nothing. There's no reason to. I think the whole issue with Guild Wars 2 endgame content for more dedicated players is that there isn't enough of a difficulty ladder to get every casual player invested in the game to try this. Yeah, that's kind of what I was mentioning earlier about open world events, is for some of these open world enjoyers, like, we took things from 1 to 11. On a scale of 1 to 10, it went from 1 to 11, taking them to Dragon's Den. Like, they weren't forced to learn other things. They could have potentially been carried on every break bar and DPS check in the past in their lives, and then this. And all of a sudden, it's just like a brick wall. Guild Wars 2 hardest content is so far away from being actually challenging to the people you're talking about. I mean, John Smith CB, you're right. I mean, as someone who came from Mythic raiding in World of Warcraft, even CM Doom in this game is just kind of like, I see it once, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to keep attempting this until they stop messing up. That's it. That's how I look at CM Doom. I'm going to have to attempt it a bunch of times until the other people in my party stop getting picked up by the little linebacker. That's the fight. Like, now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, Mythic raiding in WoW gave me a headache, but it's not even on the same playing field. Why is it possible to get tail every single time the CC bar is broken and you get exposed? How is that? Okay, so that's something we haven't really touched on tonight, but yeah, there's RNG. You know, a lot of people being like, yeah, we got 5 break bars in a row, or we got 9 tails in a row, you know, or, you know, she just crossed across the platform 27 times in a row. There probably shouldn't be that much RNG in it. Either just completely take the RNG out, or if that would make it too easy, make it where she can not do the same thing more than twice in a row or something. I don't know. There's a few ways that you could handle that. But yeah, I've seen a lot of complaints about the RNG. The expansion's not less than a full week. Don't you think people will learn to do the meta? Gypsy Danger, the risk here is that people, while you're saying they need to learn it, and that is possible. What you're saying is possible. However, what is equally possible is during the time that you're thinking people will learn the meta, those people try it over and over and over and over and over, and after like 50 attempts, they go, fuck this game. That's a risk also. Like, there was a guy I talked to yesterday that got the turtle on his 31st Dragon's End. And I was like, wait, you've done 31 metas since Monday? And he's like, yeah, I mean, 30 of them failed, so I had to do another one. I'm shocked he was still playing the game, man. Like, that's insane. Like, I was broken after 11 hours. He did almost 60. They should remove the prep part of the meta. I mean, it's important. It's part of the story and stuff. It wouldn't be a big... People wouldn't mind the prep part as much if it wasn't for the fact that it's a 2-hour time investment. Like, the closest thing I can think of is Drizzlewood, but Drizzlewood gives you a lot of rewards after South and then a lot of rewards after North. I mean, it would be... I don't know. What if they did that? That'd be kind of weird. If there was, like, a bunch of rewards after Prep and then also a bunch of rewards after the Dragon, that could be interesting. I don't know if that's the solution, but it's just something that makes you think. What a weird approach to the game. If the event failed, I waste my time having fun even when events failed. So, Cianide, the first time I did the meta, even though I failed, I was like, this was amazing. This is cool. The second time, I had already seen everything, and I was like, all right, this is kind of frustrating. I've now spent 4 hours here, and I failed both of them. I'm now at 11 hours and 45 minutes I've spent there, and I've not won a single one of them. So yeah, at the beginning, I didn't feel that way, but now after almost 12 hours, I feel that way. So it's pretty frustrating. That's an interesting take. It's why that content is dead, because there's too huge a step. However, if you had to choose between raids being dead and a lot of people quitting the game because the last meta is too hard, I'd probably choose dead raids. Now, the ideal solution is we wouldn't have to choose between either of those two things. But if you had to choose between those two things, I would not drive a bunch of casual players to quit. As someone who's played both sides of the casual and hardcore aspects of MMOs, I feel like open world stuff should be available to everyone. If you want hardcore stuff, there are raids that could be tuned to that type of content. Even while I realized they needed to come up with a version of content that's available to all skill levels. Yeah, or like we said before, maybe an instance version of it that remains as is with higher rewards, and then the public one, which is like, you know, maybe there's no timer on the public one, and you could get the turtle there. So people play the hardest tier, so important to keep out. If you want to do it, it's just fine. I think it fixed by forcing people to adapt. To get forced it a bit, people earn it. It's like the break bar and the combo tutorials and EOD. You're right. It's frustrating to be in a group with people that don't understand combos and break bars. The average player might not even need to do that. Like, if they just like running around open world for an hour, you know, on Wednesdays and Fridays after their kids have gone to bed, they don't even need that information. They don't need that information shoved down their throat. I mean, if they want to do a raid or fractal or hardcore content, absolutely. Yeah, they should learn it. And I think it helped a little bit that they made, they added Defiance breaks to the tooltips. For some abilities, not all of them. Like this is a soft CC, but it's not on that one, but it's on that one, so they still got some work to do. But I mean, part of that comes from the fact that the game teaches you very little at the beginning, which is why guide makers like us can make a living. But yeah, like they hid learn how to dodge in the achievement section somewhere, which should not be there. What if ED would be the final set of getting a turtle and you need to clear strikes or other metas before? What if ED? What if erect? What? I hope that's not required to get the turtle, or I'm just going to not get the turtle. What is wrong with you? Okay, so Maiden Heights said it's like finding a group for raids that needs roles, not blind casuals. Okay, you're going to make people quit talking like that. Who are doing less than 10k DPS who don't read squad or map chat. What happens when you join a fractal or raid group with all DPS? You filter them and find support. Yeah, but you can't filter who joins your open world map. You can't just generate an instance of an open world map where you're the only one in it and filter who comes in. Like, we don't have that level of control. If we did, you could do that, but we don't currently have that level of control. So that'd be a little bit different. I don't agree that I'm hyper optimist in this regard. I genuinely believe that any player could do almost anything in this game if they want to. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I could become a bodybuilder if I wanted to, but let's face it, I'm not going to do that. I mean, yet any human being can do almost anything they put their mind to, given enough time and willpower. Most of us aren't going to do something outside of what we want to do. That's just a fact. And like, the people that do want to learn to raid, they Google how to raid and they hit our guides. The people that want to learn how to strike, they Google how to strike and they hit our videos. The people that want to learn how to do fractals, same thing. What this is kind of forcing a difficulty and a game mode that they didn't want in front of them in order to get something that was on the box of the expansion. Like, I never asked for the stop meme. Like, that's kind of the thing. Like, if they want to do that stuff, the tools are there. They didn't ask for it, and it's just been shoved in their face. And they're dying over and over and over, and they're getting disheartened. Like, I'm getting depressed. I had so much passion for this game, I made 1,000 videos and 100 edited guides, and days after a new expansion hits, I should be on cloud friggin' 9. I'm the most bummed out I've been playing this game in 2 years because of this thing. I mean, that should say something. And if you don't care about my feelings, that's fine. Overcoming adversity in game can transcend disability in no way or form other art can. Teapot, you're absolutely right. You know, like, literally anyone who can hold a mouse and a keyboard could be trained to do that event. They shouldn't have to, though. What if they just want to chill? What if Guild MM just wants to go sell potatoes in the tens of thousands? And that's it. That's all he wants to do. That man can't dodge out of a red circle to save his life, but by God, can he sell potatoes? You should not have to shove training on break bars down this guy's throat. He can't handle it. He can't handle those break bars. And there's lots of other people that don't want to learn it. They want to play Farmville. They're hoping they like decorating guild halls. There are freaks that race roller beetles. Do you know how weird that is? And one of them flies on a griffin using, I can only assume, hacks with how long he stays in the air and films it. Do you know how weird that is? Like, none of these people can handle Dragon's Den. And that's fine. Because they like potatoes and beetles. That's totally fine. But yeah, the rest of it, like, they're invited to the convention. They stay in their own group over on the side of the room. You know, we all share the same punch, but they don't have to do the same stuff as us. Spend time getting more no challenge on that. No. What I'm saying is people should get to choose if they want a challenge. Not all of us gamers are the same. You know. You've got your open world people that just like being in open world. You've got your social anxiety people that don't like talking to anybody else, and they play the MMO because they like the open world. You got your people that like decorating guild halls. You've got your roller beetle racers. You've got the 0.1% that do raids. You've got your PvPers. You've got your World v Wordles. I can't even Wordles. World v Wordles. You got all these people, and then all of them need to play at almost raid level for that one meta. Like, I think that's bad. And the fact that there's now 2 tribes of people screaming at each other on the forums, I can't get this done, you need to nerf it. You just need to get good, maggot. Like, it's becoming tribal. Like, I feel like they should recognize that's a problem. Whether they buff it or nerf it, leave it alone, make an instance, diversion, set timers, set a silver, gold, bronze, and different levels with different chests. I don't know, but they need to do something because people are turning on each other. I don't think that's a good thing. That's not good for the game. Not even close to raid level. It's Isa. I have done challenge mode raids. I literally just did all of them last week in order to do a video on how easy they are. Here's the boxes for each one of them, okay? It's literally challenge mode raid level. I just did it. I just did them. I have to make sure everyone in my group has the right DPS, they're in the right squad, they're in the right subgroups, they've got a healer for each group, they've got quickness, they've got alacrity, they've got 25 might, they've got fury, regeneration and protection and resolution are optional but helpful. Stability is extremely helpful, especially in the one phase. Anyone with pulls like Spectral Grasp, you better bring those. Epidemic, I know it's been nerfed, but it's good on that fight too. As the leader, I have to do the same amount of work on that fight that I had to do on the CM raids. Except instead of wrangling 10 cats, I'm wrangling 50 something. It's the same. Honestly, half the raids are easier than that fight. Cairn, easier. Mursaud Overseer, easier. Veil Guardian, easier. Spirit Run, easier. Gorseville, easier. Sabbatha, easier for everyone except the people that were doing the jumps. Like, it's there's more going on in that fight than most raids. Dragon's Den is not raid CM level difficulty. It is. I just gave you examples. Dude, have you even done some of the CM raids? Keep Construct is the exact same fight as normal mode, but the room is 5 inches smaller. Like Samurag? Ooh, his spears are in a predetermined position instead of random. Whoa! Like, they're... or Doom. Oh, watch out! There's a guy that goes whoop 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 that runs around the room. Just step to the left. Like, they're not a big deal. Now, for some people that have never raided before, yeah, they'd probably look super hella intimidating. And you know what? Those people are like, you know what? That's not for me, and they choose not to do that. This is something of that caliber shoved in their face like a wall, and they're trying to get past it to get the turtle that they saw on the box when they bought the game. Sloth is super easy? Yeah, he is. Just have someone spam Condi Cleanse. Triggered Muck? I'm just saying what I think. Like, the raids in this game, be like, oh, that's not as tough as raids in this game. The raids in this game are a joke. Dude, Lord Hyzen's, like, soloed a bunch of them. Isn't the easiest fix to ramp up the rewards of Dragon's Den with maybe a good chance of Ascended Drops, Gold, etc.? Yeah, okay, so if they want people to keep doing Dragon's End without changing it at all, they will need a big money drop on it. Like an infusion, like the confetti infusion on the Pinata, or the icy infusion from Drizzlewood. Like, it would need a big money infusion as a rare drop, even if it's hella rare. The crystal infusion from Deathbrain to Shatterer, it would need something like that. You could add a rare Ascended to the loot table if there isn't already one. I haven't killed it yet. But, Tequatl drops Ascended. They could add Ascended to it too. Quite frankly, Muck is a casual gamer hearing Get Good in response to casual player complaints does not make me want to play. I know! It's the most aggravating thing. Like, why do people think that's a good idea? Like, if you've got someone that's frustrated and you just go, Get Good. They're like, you know what? This community. And they leave. And then there's a little bit less money coming into ArenaNet. They have a little bit less of a budget, and a little bit less content gets pushed out. Every person that you chase away, there's a trickle effect, and it hurts the game. Like, it's so dumb to just, like, attack these people. It shouldn't be players versus other players, unless it's PvP, then, freaking shoot them dead, whatever, especially Norns. But it shouldn't be player versus other players, it should be players versus the problem. Having a hard encounter being an optional, having a hard encounter gating an optional mount what did that say? Hold on, it scrolled off my screen. It should not be an issue. It's something they sold the game based on. The same thing would have happened if skiffs were behind this. This would be so stupid. Imagine if to unlock turtles, skiffs, and fishing, you had to beat Dragon's End. You'd have the fishermen angry. Do you know what dude, these people are happy sitting on a lake for 10 hours. You'd piss off the fishermen. Like, just taking any of the the expansion defining features and locking them behind this is wild. It's wild. Like, I don't need the turtle. It's an optional mount. It's bad at what it does. It's for fun. I would use it in funny videos. I would play Deja Vu while I was drifting around the Shadow Behemoth. That's all I would do with it. Blaine says, don't touch my poll, and Twitch says he's making sexual terms and blocked it. Alright, so now I have to hit allow Blaine to say touch my poll. Alright, there you go, Blaine. Freaking pervert. I hope so many players when they join Guild Wars and they always say this is the best community in MMO. Right now, I think I have to cover their ears, so we'll look away. Yeah. I also tell people this is the best MMO out there, but I shield their eyes from Vindicators until it's too late and they're hooked. Because Vindicators look so stupid. They look so stupid. Would you feel this way if the Siege Turtle hadn't been advertised in the trailers? No, I would not. Darren, the Griffin, and the Sky Skill. Very challenging to get in different ways. No one complains about those. You know why? Because they weren't the freaking centerfold thing that's like, no one was like, oh, I should buy this because there's a dragon mount on the front. I should buy Path of Fire, there's a flying griffin mount on the front. They didn't do that. It was... Everyone complained about Skyscale and release. Yeah, oh yeah, because it took too much time, but it was accessible. It was accessible to everyone. You know? Like, but it wasn't like unobtainable. They could do it, they just had to go get it. And also, they didn't go, buy Living World Season 4 and get a Dragon Mount and make your life easier. Haha, sucker, that'll be 50 gold and 200 hours of your life. They didn't put that front and center. It wasn't up front. So no, I don't feel that way about Griffin and Skyscale because they didn't do that. Oh, Cellofrag is here. Or as Kiyosako would say, Cellofrag is here. What's up? I really love the Dragon's Head meta, but I agree on one mistake. They advertised the turtle mount as a marketing argument to buy the game, but in fact it's not available to every player easily. They should have made it a secret mount. That would have been fine, yeah. I miss when people played video games for a challenge when content was meaningful to complete. What? Okay, I'll read the rest of your statement before I tackle that one. But now we've got an MMO with people who are mad they have to play it like an MMO is designed to be played, massively multiplayer, although this is very opinionated. People have a right to play how they want, true. The beauty is people can either take or leave this content, but have a good objective to motivate them to get better and achieve it, just like Legendary Gear, except it's combat mount, which is big. Come on, its DPS is god-awful. Like, and it's holding 2 people hostage. It takes 2 people to operate and does less than the DPS of one of them. Like, it's a screw-around mount. But as far as, you know, I miss when people play video games for a challenge. In all periods of video game history, there have been some that played for a challenge and others who played to chill and everyone in between. You can't just go, oh, in the olden days with your rose-colored glasses and say that all of them played to be the best of the best. Like, no one ever was. There was no time period like that. That wasn't a thing. There was casuals, there was the Farmville players, there was your mom playing Candy Crush, and there was the diehard guy who said, I'm going to be a professional CSGO player when he grows up, but he couldn't get a contract, so he's living in a box now. Like, there's all of those people existed. And it's a smart company will appeal to as many of them as they freaking can. As many of them as they can. It is a really cool fight. It is an awesome fight. It is an awesome fight, and it is an incredible finale to a 10-year story. But it is currently causing tribalism, which should not be a thing. Why are we pretending the meta is impossible? We aren't. And you are yet another person putting words into our mouth. No one is pretending it's impossible. We know. We see lots of people around us on the turtle mount. We know it is possible to do. It is just really difficult. And you can fail through no fault of your own because of the people around you. And then something that you may have spent your money for, you know, you're like, I'm buying this expansion because I want the turtle mount. You know why I bought Guild Wars Factions? Because I wanted the flesh golem for my Necro. I didn't care about the story. I was a wee lad. I didn't care. Stop talking, next quest. Where's the flesh golem? I literally bought that game for the flesh golem. I don't know. Some of you buy it for fishing. Some of you buy it for the skiff, the story, the new classes for PvP. I don't know. Each of us had our own reasons for purchasing it. But the fact is that the turtle was front and center on the sales flyers, and now you can not get the turtle for, 60 hours because of 49 other people that you can't control. And for people to be like, oh, well, you need to become a commander and you need to tag up and you need to get on a map and put yourself in the group finder, open a Discord, get everyone in there, divide them into subgroups, divide them into lanes 1, 2, and 3, make sure there's more people in one of the lane than the other 2, and make sure to have the boons and all the groups and subgroups and healers and quickness and alacrity and 25 stacks of might and fury and regeneration and resolution and protection and all this stuff. It's like, why should one guy that wants a turtle have to do all that? Like, if he wants to do diehard content, yeah, he'll look up how to raid. He'll find my guides. I'll make him amazing. But if he doesn't want to, why should he have to do that to get the thing that was on the advertisement? I want to say, I agree with you basically from top to bottom on the topic to use meta. I really appreciate you talking about the subject. I mean, this is just my opinion, guys. I don't, like, I can't change anything, but this is just how I feel. Like, the thing is, I care about the good of the game, you know, as much as I hope as much as like Teapot does, and a lot of the other big, you know, content creators. You know, we basically built our following off of this game. But if it comes down to the point where the game becomes 2 tribes and it's just the people who can't and the people who can are screaming at each other, it's all downhill after that. Like that's the start of the death of a game. You know, like, we're not talking Alliance versus Horde here. That can carry on for 10 years. That'll be fine. We're talking the haves and the have-nots, or just like insulting each other and stuff like that. That'll be the death of a game.